Back when we started wrenching, nobody said a $6 can could save thousands. Use the smart way. WD-40 frees rust, fixes slow windows, and keeps locks reliable. Use the dumb way. The same spray can make brakes useless and cause real damage. Today, we're dropping 15 proven garage hacks you can do fast with stuff you already own. Stay to the end, because the last 3 WD-40 tips people share online are expensive traps. What WD-40 Car Primer actually does? WD-40 is not magic. It is a simple mix built to do 3 things: displace water, creep into tight spots, and leave a light film that slows rust. That is why it works so well on metal parts. Light surface rust, stuck hardware, door and hood latches, and small exposed linkages that live in rain and road salt. On that stuff, WD-40 is cheap protection. But here is the part people skip. It is not a high-temperature brake lubricant. It is not a rubber conditioner. And it is definitely not engine or transmission fluid. Those systems run hot, under pressure, and need real oil or proper grease, not a thin water displacer. WD-40 feels like it fixes everything the first time you spray it because it breaks surface tension, lifts moisture out of gaps, and washes dirt away. The joint suddenly moves, so your brain says, "Wow, miracle." What actually happened is short-term cleanup, not long-term lube. If you keep soaking rubber seals, door weather strips, bushings, or plastic trims, over time the chemicals can dry or soften them, and you end up with water sneaking inside and parts that squeak again. So use the garage rule of thumb we follow. Spray to break things free, wipe the extra off so it does not collect dust, then re-lube with the correct long-term product. Silicone for rubber, white lithium for hinges, real brake grease for brakes. That way you get the fast fix from the $6 can without creating slow damage that costs real money later. Each one of these we're about to show uses WD-40 in that smart, limited way, so you get the rust protection in the easy movement without wrecking safety parts or soaking seals that should stay dry for years. That's how real garages use it daily. Hack 1. Surface rust stopper on doors. Trunk seams, rockers. Rust in northern and salted areas starts on the thin painted edges first, and once it bubbles, you are paying expensive body shops. Spray WD-40 directly on the rusty spot. Let it dwell for a few minutes so it can chase out water and creep under the flaking layer scrub with a nylon brush or fine pad until the loose rust is gone. Then wipe the area dry so you do not trap salt. Now mist a light coat over the clean metal and the seam. That film blocks fresh moisture and slows future damage. This single habit on doors, trunk seams, rocker lips, and hood edges can save $500 to $2,000 on patchwork later. If your car lives near the ocean or drives through winter slush, this is cheap insurance you can do in minutes. Bolts, clips, and brackets rust even faster because they are bare steel with a thin coating from the factory. We stop that in the same simple way, but we let the spray soak deeper into the threads each time. Hack 2. Stuck bolt/seized fastener rescue. Nothing eats time and money like a seized bolt the shop says needs to be drilled, because that turns a simple job into an expensive one. Before you round the head, drown the fastener in WD-40 and walk away for 15 full minutes so the oil can creep through the threads. After the soak, tap the head or the nut with a small hammer to send vibration down the rusty spiral. That helps the fluid travel deeper. Now try backing it out slowly, rocking left and right if it squeaks, and add more spray if it fights you. This works on exhaust flange bolts, license plate screws, battery hold downs, strut pinch bolts, and other parts that love to corrode. Freeing it yourself means you skip the labor add-on, and you do not pay for broken bolt extraction. Shops charge more because drilling risks damage to hubs, brackets, and even sensors near the bolt for you. Roll with us. Subscribe so you do not miss the next repair breakdown, because we keep these tricks practical. Next, we keep electricity clean, because corrosion there causes even weirder bills. Hack 3. Battery and connector moisture guard. Electrical gremlins are expensive because shops bill hours just to find the bad connection. Most of the time, it started with moisture sitting on a terminal or in a small plug. Clean the battery posts and clamps first with a brush so you are not sealing in crust. Then give a light shot of WD-40 over the posts, the clamps, and any fuse box plug that shows green or white fuzz. The spray pushes water away and leaves a thin barrier so new corrosion takes much longer to form. Do the same on coil connectors and sensor plugs that live low in the engine bay. Keeping those clean prevents random no starts, strange dash lights, weak spark, and rough idle that shops blame on big parts. That alone can save $100 to $500 in electrical diagnosis fees and unnecessary part swaps. Moisture loves winter cars, salty cars, and cars that sit outside. So this tiny job matters more than people think on older daily drivers. Do it every oil change too. Once the wires can actually talk to each other, we can clean the AIR path next. Hack 4. Throttle body and exterior intake cleanup. When the throttle plate gets gummy, the car idles roughly, drinks more gas, and the shop suddenly wants $150 to $300 for a simple clean. You can do it with the same $6 can. Pop the intake tube off the throttle body, hold the plate open, and mist WD-40 on the plate and the surrounding bore. Use a soft brush or rag to wipe away the dark carbon and oily dust, then spray a tiny bit again to leave it moving. This helps the computer control airflow better, which means smoother idle and quicker pedal response. It also keeps sticky throttles from triggering totally avoidable check engine lights. Do not flood sensors down the line. Spray the metal parts, wipe the rest. On older daily drivers, this grime comes from blowy and dusty roads, not from you doing anything wrong. So cleaning once or twice a year is smart and cheaper than paying labor. Your fuel mileage will thank you later. Now that the air is clean and the engine can breathe, we can fix windows that act like they are broken. Hack 5. Window regulator and track reviver. Power windows slow down or quit because the tracks dry out, not because the motor instantly dies, and shops love to sell full regulators. Pull the door panel carefully, follow the glass down, and mist WD-40 on the sliders, the cables, the pivot points, and the little wheels. Cycle the window up and down a few times so the spray spreads through the whole path. That lets the motor work with less load, which keeps it reliable for many more years. This 5-minute job can save $300 to $600 on replacement parts and labor, especially on SUVs with big glass. If the felt guides are dirty, wipe them first so you are not trapping grit. Do not soak switches or speakers. Keep the spray on the moving hardware. Sticking glass in winter can even freeze half open, and towing a car over that is pure waste. So this tiny hit of lube before cold weather is real protection. Do it before storms hit. With the windows running smoothly again, the next obvious target is the hood and its latches, because those quit at the worst time. Hack 6. Hood hinges, latch, and strut mounts. A stuck hood is a stressful and expensive problem because shops sometimes have to break plastic shields just to reach the latch. WD-40 keeps that reliable spray the hinge, pivots, the main latch hook, the small safety catch, and the upper strut mounting point so every moving part gets a light coat open, and close the hood 3 or 4 times so the spray works in, then wipe the extra so dirt cannot build up. This stops hidden corrosion from freezing the hood shut, and it saves $200 to $400 later when you actually need to service the engine. It also makes roadside battery and bulb work faster, which matters in bad weather. Once the hood opens clean, we can protect the locks because those fail the moment salt and water get inside. Spraying once every few months, especially before snow or heavy rain, keeps the latch metal dry, the springs stronger, and the struts smoother, so the hood never surprises you with a jam on a busy day. Do this on older trucks too, because their big hoods put even more load there. Extra protection. Hack 7. Door lock and trunk lock life extender. Frozen locks are annoying, but paying a locksmith is even more expensive, so we keep moisture out. Every few months, give each door lock, the trunk lock, and the hatch lock a short shot of WD-40. Then run the key in and out several times to spread it through the tumblers. The spray pushes out water, loosens tiny rust spots, and leaves a thin shield on the metal parts. After that, wipe away drips so they do not grab road dust. This tiny habit is vital in winter or salty coastal areas where brine creeps into every opening and freezes the cylinder solid. Keeping the locks moving saves $100 to $200 on emergency calls, and it also keeps the factory key working, which matters on older cars with worn chips. Do the trunk too, because people ignore it until the day they actually need the spare tire. Next, we will clean the outside, because tar and sap can make even a good car look neglected. A clean working lock also keeps doors sealing better, so water and wind stay out. Cheap insurance for winter drivers. Hack 8. Sap, tar, sticker, and adhesive remover. Road tar, tree sap, and old dealership stickers make cars look neglected, and body shops will happily charge for paint correction. WD-40 can lift most of that cheaper if you do it right. Spray the WD-40 on a clean cloth, not straight on the paint, and press it over the spot for a few seconds so the solvent can soften the gunk. Then wipe gently and repeat until the surface feels smooth again. This works on tar behind the wheels, sap on the hood, tape glue on the doors, and adhesive from badges. Because you use the cloth method, you are not flooding seals or plastic trims. This saves $200 or more in detailing time, and it keeps you from grabbing abrasive tools that scratch clear coat. After the mess is gone, wash and wax that area so the shine comes back. With the body cleaned up, we can fix brake noise the right way without making the car dangerous. Remember, sticky spots collect more dirt, so removing them early keeps paint cleaner and helps resale value later. Small job, big money saved. Do it before winter. Hack 9. Brake hardware cleaner. Only. Brake squeals make people think they need new pads, but many times it is just dry or rusty hardware. WD-40 can free those parts so the pads can move again. Pull the caliper, spray the corroded pad clips, the caliper pins, and the slide areas so the rust breaks loose, then wipe everything clean. After that, you must add proper high-temperature brake grease to those same contact points because WD-40 is not made for brake heat. This combo stops vibration, lets the pads retract, and can save $200 to $500 in unnecessary brake jobs. Here is the tight warning. Never spray WD-40 on the pad friction material or the rotor surface, or you will destroy stopping power. This hack is for hardware only, not for the parts that actually touch the rotor. Once the brakes are quiet, we can chase little interior squeaks and seat noises so the car feels solid again. Shops see sprayed rotors all the time, and it turns a cheap noise fix into a dangerous, expensive repair you could have avoided in minutes. Respect brakes, save real money, drive safely. Hack 10. Weather strip, hinge, and seat track squeak fix. Not every noise needs parts. A few need smart lube. For metal-to-metal squeaks on door hinges, seat tracks, or folding seat latches, give a light spray of WD-40, move the part back and forth, and then wipe the excess. This spreads the oil where it is needed and keeps dust from sticking. Say this clearly to yourself. Do not soak rubber weather strips every week because constant chemical exposure can dry or swell them over time. Use silicone on rubber if you need long-term slip, and keep WD-40 for the metal joints. Quieting these little sounds keeps you out of shops that will happily charge diagnostic time for a rattle. It also makes older cars feel more reliable, which matters if you use them daily. With the cabin quiet, we can go under the hood again and make everything look clean instead of tired. Small interior fixes like this are what separate a beat-up ride from a well-kept car, and buyers pay more for cars that feel solid inside. Do it once a season, and you stay ahead of WEAR. Cheap, fast, reliable. Hack 11. Underhood cosmetic clean and rust deter. WD-40 is not just for squeaks. Under the hood, it keeps things looking clean and stops small rust from turning expensive. Spray WD-40 on a rag, not straight on the engine, and wipe plastic covers, hose clamps, battery hold-downs, and any exposed brackets. That light film kicks out moisture and slows the little orange spots that tell buyers the car lived a hard life. Do the latch area too, because it gets road salt and then starts to corrode right where the hood locks. If you drive on winter roads or near the coast, metal under the hood sweats and then rust shows up. Fast, this 5-minute wipe down makes the bay look reliable, makes parts easier to read, and helps you sell the car for more later. It also helps you spot leaks because clean parts show fresh oil or coolant right away. Keep it light, keep it wiped, and it will not trap dirt. With the top side neat and protected, we can move to the fuel area and keep that just as clean, dusty, oily engine room scare buyers and even some inspectors. So this cheap wipe matters a lot for resale. Hack 12. External fuel system tidy. Fuel parts on the outside of the engine need to stay clean, so leaks show up early and do not become dangerous. Use WD-40 on a rag and wipe around the metal fuel rail, the small external lines, and the throttle body housing so that grit cannot build up near connectors. When dirt sits on a fitting, it can get pushed inside during service, and that is how drip leaks start. Keeping the area dry also lets you spot damp spots from weak O-rings before they spray on a hot exhaust. That early catch can save you hundreds in labor and keep the car from leaving you on the side of the road. Do not dump WD-40 into the tank or try to lube sensors with it. This is only for the outside parts you can see. If this is saving you money, hit like and drop a hype. We will keep making real garage tricks. Now that lines and rails are clean, we can use the same can on license plates and trim, so we stop breaking hardware. Clean fuel areas make later repairs faster for shops and cheaper for you, every single time too. Hack 13. License plate, trim, and emblem help. Old license plate screws, plastic trim clips, and stuck emblems break because rust or dry adhesive holds too tight. Before you twist anything, soak the plate screws or nuts with WD-40 and let them sit so the threads can drink it in. Then back them out slowly, and they will come free without snapping off in the trunk lid. For badges or old dealer stickers, spray WD-40 on a cloth, warm the area with the sun or a dryer, and work the edge until the adhesive lets go. This keeps paint from peeling and stops you from jamming a razor into the clear coat. Doing it this way saves you from buying hardware, saves you from paint damage, and makes plate swaps or trim work simple. It also lets you clean under parts so you do not trap moisture behind them again. Northern drivers know broken plate bolts turn into drilled holes in bodywork, which costs real money fast. A few seconds of spray now is way cheaper than fixing rusty threads later, for sure. Hack 14. Winter moisture and freeze prevention. Cold weather and road salt make doors, hoods, and trunks stick, so we give moving parts a light shield before winter hits. Spray WD-40 on door latches, on the striker, on hood and trunk linkages, and on any hinge that sits outside the cabin. Open and close each part so the oil spreads and kicks water out of the joints. This reduces frozen latches, stuck hoods, and doors that will not seal on icy mornings. It also stops cables and little springs from rusting while the car sits in slush. One tow or locksmith visit in winter can cost more than all the WD-40 you use in a year. Do this in late fall and again mid-season if you drive through heavy salt. Once winter cannot lock you out, we can protect cars that sit for weeks so they do not get rusty just from storage. This is extra important on trucks and SUVs where the hatch latch is low and eats every puddle and snowbank all season long, because low latches corrode faster and then refuse to release when you actually need the cargo space. Simple spray now keeps winter problems small and cheaper. Hack 15. Short-term corrosion shield for stored cars. Sometimes a car sits, project in the garage, snowbird season, work truck parked, and bare metal starts to flake even though you never drove it. Before storage, mist WD-40 on a rag and wipe battery terminals, hood and trunk latches, exposed strut tops, and any bare brackets. This thin film keeps moisture from sitting on the metal and prevents that ugly rust bloom that shows up after a month. Do not drown plastics or rubber. Just cover the steel parts and wipe the excess. It also keeps the latches moving so the hood still opens the day you bring the car back to life. On older rides, you can even miss light surface rust in the engine bay to stop it from spreading while it sleeps. This is short-term protection, not a forever coating, but it is cheap and it works. Use it anytime the car will sit longer than a few weeks, especially in damp garages or coastal towns where metal sweats even when the engine is cold. That little film saves money later. Okay, fun part is over. Here is how people destroy cars with the same can. The 3 WD-40 car mistakes that cost thousands. WD-40 is great on metal, but these 3 mistakes turn a $6 can into a $4,000 problem. Mistake 1. Spraying WD-40 on brake pads or rotors. First mistake is the scary one, and we see it on real cars that roll in with shiny rotors and almost no stopping power. A driver hears a squeal, reaches for WD-40, and sprays the pad or the rotor because it worked on the door hinge. Brakes are built around friction. WD-40 is built to reduce friction. When you spray a friction killer on a friction part, you make the pedal feel the same, but the car needs a lot more pavement to slow down. That extra distance is the difference between a safe stop and a bent bumper, or worse, an insurance claim with ugly pictures. Shops that find WD-40 on rotors have to clean or replace pads, rotors, sometimes even hoses that got soaked, because once the oil soaks in, the material will not grip reliably. That is why this tiny spray turns into an $800 to $2,500 bill per axle. And if the whole system is contaminated, it can climb close to $4,000. It is not drama, it is safety. Never spray the pad surface, never spray the rotor. Use real brake cleaner and real brake grease. Mistake 2. Using WD-40 as engine oil or transmission fluid/flush. Second mistake is even more expensive because people try to use WD-40 as engine oil or as a transmission flush or as some kind of secret internal cleaner. Engines and gearboxes run at 250 degrees or more under real pressure, with bearings and clutch packs that need a specific thickness to stay separated. WD-40 is a thin water displacer. Inside a hot engine, it thins out fast. The oil film collapses, and the metal parts start kissing each other. That is how bearings starve, pistons scuff, cam lobes wear, and how transmissions lose hydraulic clamping on the clutch packs. Once that happens, you are not buying a little bottle to fix it. You are buying a rebuild. Modern transmissions can cost $3,000 to $5,000 to repair, and many engines are $4,000 to $12,000, depending on size and vehicle. Use WD-40 inside the engine or gearbox, and you can total a good car in under 5 minutes of runtime. We call it a 5-second bad idea with 5-figure consequences. If you want to clean inside, you use products made for hot, high-pressure oil systems, not a spray made to chase water off door hinges. Mistake 3. Soaking rubber seals and gaskets over and over. The third mistake is sneaky because it looks helpful the first week. People love how WD-40 makes sticky door seals and window rubbers move again, so they spray it every month. Every wash, sometimes every week. Rubber and certain plastics do not love constant chemical exposure. Over time, the material can dry, swell, or lose the protective layer it had from the factory. Then water starts sneaking past door seals, trunk seals, sunroof drains, and even hood seals. Water in the cabin is not just a smell problem. It can drip on wiring, on body control modules, on carpet, and it can grow mold that makes the car harder to sell. By the time owners notice wet floorboards or a foggy rear window, the damage is already there, and the repair becomes $500 to $3,000 once trim, seals, and electronics are involved. When oil from WD-40 gets on the IBE's tone ring or the wheel speed sensor area, it can trigger warning lights and force the shop to do extra cleanup. That means more labor and sometimes full replacement because shops will not gamble on half-working brakes. All of that came from a spray that was supposed to stop a squeak. On the engine side, once bearings wear out or a torque converter starts to slip from thin fluid, you cannot change back to normal oil and pretend it never happened. The wear metal is already moving through the system, so the unit keeps failing until it is rebuilt. Salvage yard parts can be over $1,000, and you still have installation labor. Interior water from damaged seals can soak foam underlayment, and that foam holds water, making rust start from the inside out on the floor pan. Electronics that live under seats hate water, and one wet module can knock out power seats, airbags, or door locks. All of that was avoidable if the spray had stayed on the metal and not on the rubber. So the rule is simple: WD-40 for metal, for stuck parts, for short-term moisture issues, and silicone or the proper rubber-safe lube for seals. You want to last longer. We keep cars reliable, not expensive. Click the next video. We break down dealer pure profit services you can skip. Subscribe and stay ahead of shop tricks. Keep your car reliable to 300,000 miles and stop paying for work that adds zero life.